Dire team ban.
Alright, let's try this once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we get set to enter Game 2 here. And it looks like both teams are on their appropriate side. They have their appropriate pick positions. So we should actually go through with the game remaining. This time.
Radiant
we
team
do have
ban.
Nitrain
Team
joining
ban.
Team PeeNoise this game around. So Jericho, the stand-in, will not be around to help him out for Game 2. Game 1 going the way of Firestarter, and we're seeing Game 2, remaining. The Game 2 draft starting pretty much the same way,
Radiant
with
team
the
ban.
Alchemist and Doom being the first two bans, but the second bans by both teams throwing a little respect to one another as they ban out the Tusk and the Winter Wyvern. So you won't be seeing the Wombo combo from Firestarter
Radiant team pick.
In the double dragon ultimate extreme. What you will see, however, is the return of Windranger, as she will likely be picked up once again by ABC and likely taken to that middle lane. Unless, of course, they decide to mix it up and hand it off to Mag
10 seconds remaining.
Utilize in the off lane. We'll see here as the draft
5 seconds
unfolds
remaining.
And they reveal a bit more of their hand. On the opposing side,
Radiant
it
team
looks like
pick.
Team PeeNoise is going to implement a different strategy, starting out with the Undying this time instead of the previous off lane Clockwork. And Undying can go into the off lane, or he can go into the safe lane as the fourth slot support. Dazzle, again, I mentioned it in the Game 1 draft screen. He is one of those platinum tier support heroes right now, because he's able to provide sustain to the team fight through his Shadow Wave, healing up the bulk of his team. Shallow Grave is a skill that never really falls off. It provides immortality to one of your heroes for 5 seconds, and I'd say later into the game, remaining. The hard carries are able to do more with those 5 seconds
remaining.
Than you're even able to do in the early phases of the game. But throughout,
Reserve time.
The ability to save somebody's life from any amount of damage is definitely useful. And Weave is good through the middle of the game, as it provides armor to yourself and armor reduction to your opponent. Armor is one of those skills that I still think it's gotten a bit more respect and a bit more attention lately, but it's commonly overlooked. You can really start to tear through a team if you get the right armor combo. You get Slardar, who's been popular in the pro circuit these days, combined with what we used to run was
ban.
VS Elder Titan,
team ban.
Slardar, I think Shadow Fiend, and a Dazzle, some combo like that.
Radiant
you would have
team
just this
ban.
crazy armor team, and even our supports would right click for a ton of damage.
Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team.
Yeah,
pick.
the announcer pack's a bit loud. I think that's what, unit speech? Maybe voice? I'll turn both those down. So hopefully that's a little bit better. Going through the second ban phase, you see a lot of the same bands coming out. The Spectre, the Phantom Lancer, Anti-Mage, and Gyrocopter.
5 seconds remaining.
Gyrocopter was one of the first phase bans in Game 1.
Time.
So he slips into the second phase here, but ultimately gets banned out. So
team pick.
not changing up the ban order very much, but Team PeeNoise is definitely changing up their strategy, as they now look to go death by 1,000 spawns as they have the Tombstone on Undying, which will be summoning all those zombies, and the Mass Serpent Wards on Shadow Shaman.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Yep. So thank you for the feedback, Twitch chat. I have lowered my announcer pack. Just, I'll give it another lower. Hopefully those levels are a little bit better, and you can hear my glorious voice over that of, I don't even know who this one is. I think it's the Stanley Parable guy.
Witch Doctor.
Firestarter taking a bit of their reserve time here as they pick up their second support. This one being the Witch Doctor. And so they'll have a totem of their own. And this time it'll be Firestarter picking up the AA, not PeeNoise. So far they have a pretty balanced draft, and they can go whatever direction they want with it.
5 seconds remaining.
I think PeeNoise have the draft that really encourages the team fight a bit more. And with the pickup of the Warlock, that's definitely going to be the case. So that is going to be a core Warlock, presumably holding down the fort in the middle lane, and you're going to be looking for Team PeeNoise here to force a lot of team fights out of Firestarter, and they may be forced to do so as
10 seconds
Team PeeNoise also have the advantage in tower pushing. So if Firestarter don't respond to that pressure in the correct way, they're going to, much like what they were able to accomplish in Game 1, fall victim to here in Game 2, and that is that their ability to farm the jungle, their ability to safely explore the lanes is going to be cut off as the outer towers fall rather quickly. I suspect you'll see Team PeeNoise collapse right around at level 6 and try to team fight from there on. However, Firestarter pick up a Pudge as their fourth pick. Always a fun hero to watch, always a difficult hero to keep tabs on. You're going to need excellent communication from Team PeeNoise here as Pudge looks to roam around and toss hooks out and get pickoffs throughout the game, and he's a hero that can snowball pretty hard if you let him, as those flesh heap stacks start to build up and he becomes more and more unkillable. With AA in the background as well, you're going to have the ability to toss out the Ice Blast on wherever Pudge is lurking and get a bit of a wombo combo. And now for the hard carry, you have Meepo being picked up. So two heroes I don't see a ton of in competitive play, and that's going to be Meepo and Pudge making their way into this game. So Firestarter looking to pick up what I assume is going to be their safe lane, because you have Pudge and Windranger right now. Windranger you can throw middle or off. Pudge you can presumably throw into the off lane as well, but I suspect we'll see him in the middle lane, providing him an easier time rotating around. And the final pickup from Firestarter is going to be a Sven. Not a bad pickup, as his built-in cleave mechanics are going to be able to help cut through the Meepo and make short work of him. And of course, right on time as we start the game. Like I said in Game 1, no Dota game would be complete if we didn't have a pause. So here we are for the first pause of Game 2 between Team Firestarters and Team PeeNoise. Team PeeNoise being jumped up a bracket from the entry-level bracket to the heroic level bracket. They were operating on some Smurf accounts in the entry-level bracket apparently, and got found out. So this, I believe, is their first game in the heroic bracket this season. And this is, of course, for those of you paying attention at home, Season 9 of the AD2L tournament. And the second matchup between Team PeeNoise and Team Firestarters, with Firestarters taking Game 1 in this matchup. So, going through introductions real quick. Playing... Oh, get back here. The funky looking Shadow Shaman. You're going to have Papoy Bangus. Playing the Warlock. With the custom Immortal, I believe it's an Immortal staff, yep. It's going to be Mosey, and he will be playing that mid-core lane. Dazzle hanging out in the back of the pack here. It's going to be played by Spraying Baton 69. The Undying is going to be played by Nitrain, who was unable to make it in time for Game 1, but he's able to join the team here for Game 2. And hoping to showcase some of his micro skills here is the Meepo, being played by Feel It in Your Bones as he heads into the jungle. On Team Firestarters, they're moving as 5 and they're smoked up, so I'm going to hold off on introductions until they run into the Meepo here, which they will certainly do. Stun being tossed out by Sven, now they're going to get in position, and the rot and the right click damage from the rest of the team is going to be enough, and that's Wind Ranger picking up the first blood 30 seconds before the horn sounds.
30 seconds to battle.
Sven popping a clarity, getting ready to mana up in case he needs to toss out a second Stormbolt. But Mag's not done, and it looks like you are going to have the off-lane Pudge with Wind Ranger again being played by ABC. Yep. So
The battle begins.
we have more harassment coming out here in this top lane as Klars looks to engage against Warlock, and the right clicks are going to be there after the stun from both Sven and Kupo bouncing between both Nitrain and the Warlock there. It's going to be enough lockdown to keep them in place, and now you have Durelius moving up and tossing out another chilling touch to Kupo, and together they're going to try to right click down the Nitrain, but he's fast enough, he has enough stolen HP from Decay that he's going to be just fine. He's stolen a ton of strength. He's at plus 20 right now. He's doubled his strength. He's sitting at 1,000 HP. Tries to spot out Kupo in the jungle here. But is slightly off the mark, and so with a brief stalemate in the kills, I will try to get through introductions here without missing too many kills. And I missed it. Of course, I go to open my mouth for introductions and I missed the kill in the middle lane as Team PeeNoise are able to pick up their first kill of the match with Moisey picking off the Wind Ranger. Then healing himself back up with the Shadow Word ABC showing back up. Angry and throwing out a power shot. So, let's try this again, shall we? So, introductions. Playing the Pudge and the Jungle Lurker here. You have Mag in the middle lane. Being the first to die on her team is going to be Wind Ranger, again played by ABC 123 123.
Fortune's changed.
And the top lane on your two supports, you're going to have Duralius playing AA, and Kupo playing the Witch Doctor, hanging out, checking out the haste rune. Not sure if she's going to pick it up for himself or wait for the Wind Ranger to get it.
Haste!
And last but certainly not least, we have Sven being played by Klars -- Walking Midas. Eating a bit of decay, and so you have Night Train here going into a lane where he's going up against a melee hero and a melee strength hero. So each of those decays is not only making Night Train stronger, harder to kill, and making Night Train hit harder himself, but it's also impacting Sven's ability to last hit and secure for himself some farm. In the bottom lane here you have Meepo tossing out the nets and making it go on Mag, and with the shackles from Pupoi Bangus, it's going to be enough to drop him. Pudge at the last second trying to suicide himself through Rot, but it's not going to be there, and Meepo's right clicks are going to be enough to secure the kill for him. This is one of the changes that has made Meepo a bit more viable. You're able to get a point into your ultimate much sooner than level 6, and so you have those additional Meepos to work with much earlier on. But having those extra Meepos can be a bit of a deterrent as well if one of them gets caught out, but well microed as he moves one Meepo to safety, and the one that's hooked gets back there, harasses a little bit, and then poofs himself to safety. Top lane here, a little bit of deny as Night Train tries to block his stack. ABC taking quite a bit of harassment damage here from the Shadow Word, and is it going to be enough to kill her? It is, and there's the death from Wind Ranger as Warlock has 3 points into his Shadow Word.
Time is running out for
Bottom
Dire's
lane,
middle tower.
there's some pings, but nothing major, so. In the top lane, you have Kupo stacking up the neutrals, denying experience to Night Train, and keeping the creep equilibrium in a favorable position for Sven. Moise sitting on a ring of Bacillus, but opting not to go with the bottle yet, and gets shackled against the trees here as ABC tries. Nope, it looked like it didn't latch. How did that one not latch? Or is it just short? Yeah, it's just level 1, so it's only 1.5 seconds. So now instead of using that Shadow Word aggressively like he had been, he has to use it defensively to keep himself alive and in the fight here. Duralius and Kupo trying to zone out the Night Train, doing a pretty successful job of that as he's second to bottom in the net worth chart. Pudge meanwhile hanging out pretty near his own tower, and because the creep wave is pushed up to his tower, he's been able to secure plenty of experience for himself. You see Undying's level 4 with 271 experience into the level, and Pudge is a full level above him, level 5 with 450 experience into the level. So Pudge is actually going to hit level 6 here relatively quickly. Almost keeping up with the Queen of Pain. Excuse me, that's game 1. Almost keeping up with Wind Ranger. And feel it in your bones, pushing that wave ever forward. In the top lane, the defensive try combo of Kupo, Duralius, and Klars was able to stun and ultimately kill the Undying. But there's heavy rotation to the top lane as Pudge tries to make a successful hook kill combination, and the heroes rotating in, or the support heroes rotating in from Team Firestarters are going to get cornered here, and Popoi is probably going to finish that one off. As in the backgrounds you have Kupo and Feel It in Your Bones dancing back and forth, and at the end of the day it's a 2-for-0 exchange as Pudge and AA both fall, and Feel It in Your Bones and Popoi Bangus making it out safely. Whenever you get hooked and you lose one of your Meepos unexpectedly, it's pretty difficult and it's pretty difficult to maintain control and knowledge of where all those Meepos are, how much health each of them have, how much mana each of them have in case you need to poof one of them out at the last second. But Feel It in Your Bones proving he's up to the challenge, and now Clar is feeling ambitious, goes up against Nitrain one-on-one, and the tombstone's dropped and he just falls back to the safety of his tower. In the middle lane here, ABC picking up a double damage, Rune Throw getting into a bottom. She's looking to make a rotation into the bottom lane alongside Ancient Apparition. Off to Rune and circles back, Shackle onto Popoi and onto the Meepo, and the stuns are coming out, bouncing between the Shaman and the Meepo, and it looks like this is going to be enough to secure the kill for them in the bottom lane for the first time this match, as they're able to drop both heroes, Duralius, ABC, and Kupo, all utilizing their stuns, their lockdowns with the Cold Feet, the Bouncing Cask, and of course the Shackle Shot from ABC.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And at this point, Mosey's just hanging out in this middle lane, and because he hasn't rotated much, he's sitting on level 8, now level 9. He's maxed out Shadow Word, he has Chaotic Offering ready to go. He's been popping Hand of Midas on cooldown, and it's yielded him the top position for net worth. And so, right now he's sitting pretty comfortable. But he shouldn't get too comfortable, as the Pudge is moving into position to hook him up to the high ground. He does have Dismember ready, and there's the Rot into the Dismember. It's going to be good to go. Here comes the Power Shot from ABC. And it will not be enough to finish off Mosey, as he's able to Shadow Word up himself at the last second, runs forward past the Power Shot of ABC, and dropping that Golem on the head of Pudge, and the immolation damage that was coming out from the Golem was enough to drop Pudge before Mosey fell, and that's a painful blow for a Pudge. When you're rotating, looking to land hooks, you actually land them, you get your Rot off, you get your Dismember off, and you think you've secured the kill, but everything backfires, you miss out on the kill, you die yourself, it sets you back and it shakes your confidence. And so now you're going to have a Pudge who's always, or you may have a Pudge who's constantly second guessing himself as to whether or not he should actually throw this hook. Is it, if it lands, am I going to pay the price for it, or am I actually going to secure a kill?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Meepo, 11 minutes into the game, has picked himself up a Blink Dagger on his primary Meepo.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So he's utilizing the space his team is providing for him to farm effectively, both in the woods and in the lane. Did miss yet another kill in the top lane here as the Triforce duo strikes again, dropping the Undying. But in the middle lane, they're looking to push and take the first tower of the match, and this time Firestarters are hitting on all cylinders. They get a kill up top, they land a hook off of Mag onto the Dazzle, able to secure that kill, and the AA blast came in from the top lane, dropping the Warlock, who, yeah, his Shadow Word is very useful in healing yourself up, but if you're under the Ice Blast, you can't receive any healing. And so he'll drop low enough, fast enough that the Shatter mechanic engages and he goes down. So, scoreboard looking slightly in favor of fire starters as it's 10-6, and you can see the roller coaster ride here as both teams trade the lead back and forth every couple minutes as they look to get their feet under them.
Killing spree.
I don't even know where that one was. That was the Pudge. Yep, hanging out here in this bottom lane, picking off a Shadow Shaman who could not be saved by Feel It in Your Bones. But this time it's Team PeeNoise who are looking to be the aggressors, and they're pushing up against this tier 1 tower. Glyph is popped, the AA Ice Blast is tossed out, it only lands on one, but they're looking to make a go of it here anyway. Undying pops his ult, he drops the Tombstone, yep, into the jungle here. Pudge hooking Duralius to pull him back to safety, and it looks like Team Firestarter are just going to disengage here. Let the tower go as the zombies were able to finish off the Witch Doctor on Team Firestarters.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
This bot lane, Feel It in Your Bones, is solo pushing this bottom tower, more or less, but with the support of Hopoi and his snake wards, they're for sure going to take this tower pretty much uncontested.
Cover your eyes.
Have Dazzle drawn out on the map, ready to defend their middle lane. Nitrain with invisibility. I thought he was invisible. Picks up another one. Shadow Word Pang being tossed onto the AA, or Shadow Word rather, and that's going to be enough to drop him. Hook slightly off the mark, and so ABC and Mag are going to fall back to the safety of their tier 2 tower.
The Dire's poor top tower. Can its end be drawing nigh?
So right now you have 70 to 80 seconds on both the Warlock Golems and the Snake Wards from Shadow Shaman. But as soon as those are up, I expect to see... Excuse me guys, something caught in my throat here. Let's grab a quick drink of water. Alright, sorry about that guys. It's something caught in my throat. Still sitting there a bit, but I'll power through it here. Yeah, Feel It in Your Bones joining his teammates here for a push up top. They did kind of circle around the middle lane. Pudge scouted him out with the hook. Yeah, Feel It in Your Bones farming with 2 of the Meepos in the jungle and pushing the top lane with the 3rd. Heavy rotations into this middle lane, as this time Team PeeNoise do not want to lose any territory whatsoever. They've been able to successfully take down 3 tier 1 towers and haven't lost one of their own yet. All the top 2, the top 1 and the middle 1 are both sitting slightly under half HP. But nothing to worry about yet as they look to make a push here onto the mid tower. Serpent wards are up, Golem is up, and they're nuking down this creep wave, ready to push into the tier 2 tower, and Firestarter know it. They've been pinging out the tower saying, this is where they're coming, guys, get ready to defend. You have Sven hanging out not too far away, farming up, and down in the bot here you have Magnus on the Pudge, or Mag on the Pudge, throwing out his hook and landing one on Mosey, but the rest of his team are circling up. You got the weave coming in, and the additional heal from Shadowworks going to keep him high enough. And as soon as the Witch Doctor drops his Death Ward, there's an immediate answer from the Warlock as he drops his Golem, and that'll for sure secure them this Tier 2 tower as Firestarters retreat back to the Tier 3. You have some harassing shots being fired out by ABC, but it's not meant to kill, it's just meant to force people back. They are looking to pick up some of the free gold here from the Golem, and they do accomplish that. So it's 100 gold from the Golem, and that'll be the silver lining to that cloud, I guess, as they lose their Tier 2 tower in the middle and have to continuously fall back. Now, the difficulty here for Team Firestarter isn't that they're losing their towers. They'll be able to make that back up through the Wind Ranger and through applying... Nope. Meepo getting away again. Had some heavy pings coming out from Spraying Baton, but feel it in your bones, displaying some impressive micromanagement of his Meepos here, knowing that the stun was off cooldown as he used it to initiate, and there were no other stuns in the neighborhood, so he was able to poof to safety. And now you have Warlock drawing a Cyclone on the minimap. As one of the Meepo, a couple of the Meepos heal up, and then they go to poof back into the middle here where Mag had been netted by one. He turns to hook as Ice Blast lands, but it's both Ice Blast and hook are slightly off the mark. Now you have a smoke coming out from bottom 4 heroes as they look to to loop around the middle lane here. I'm not sure if this observer ward caught them smoking, but I don't think it did. And they are going to get behind Kupo here, who walks forward. And a smart use of Tombstone cuts through the woods, allowing Spraying Baton to just walk right through. And now you're going to have a team clash as Klars throws out his first stun, cuts through Shadow Shaman, and now they turn onto Spraying Batons to finish him off like he is. Underneath Shallow Grave for a bit, the second stun is going to fly, followed by the Dismember on Mag, and that's going to be a 5-for-0 team wipe. So, a bit of an awkward encounter there for Team PeeNoise as Sven is able to flex his muscles for the first time this game. Kupo, I don't know if he felt the pressure or it was just that Dota sense, but by moving from here to here, he had all of his allies on the high ground ready to come down and engage, and it was kind of a split battle where Undying went there, Dazzle cut through the jungle, and everybody on Team PeeNoise took a slightly different route. Very aggressive encounter from Undying as he's cleaved down instantly.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And now Firestarters are going to look to regain some of the lost territory.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're going to run into Spraying Baton here in the jungle. And tossing out everything. They had Cold Feet, the stun from Sven, as well as the ultimate from AA committed to drop Dazzle, which seems a bit excessive for the hard 5th roll and the support of the Radiant team. But hey, a kill's a kill, and puts them up to 18 on the board. And you can see where this chart has been swinging back and forth all game, and now Firestarters have taken their first serious lead of this game as they're approaching 3K, having stolen the 3K lead that PeeNoise had once possessed. You have a Golem coming in as well as the Tombstone, and feel it in your bones trying to stand up to the Sven, and he just explodes. So the rest of Team Firestarter turned their focus onto the Tombstone after Undying, Meepo, and Shadow Shaman fell. And so you're going to have a 3-for-2 exchange, with gold exchange being about even, but a massive XP gain going the way of Firestarters, as their heroes were relatively under-leveled, especially compared to the Meepo.
Radiant structures are fortified. They must have seen dark clouds on the horizon.
Golem, Golem. You say tomato, I say potato. It's a Golem. That's a perfectly fine pronunciation of it. Golem. It's a Golem. It's a chaotic offering. How about that? I'm gonna call him Co. He drops his Co. His colum. That sounds too much like a colon. I'm not gonna use that one. He doesn't drop his colon on the enemy. That would be that would require the maturity filter you were talking about. So you have a smoke coming up from Firestarters as the Sven and Pudge rotate into the jungle. They're able to pitch out Night Train, but Oh Boy, jumping forward to save him, throws out the Hex and disrupts Pudge's Dismember. He picks up an invisibility inside of his bottle, so he'll be safe. Now using his ultimate and his Tombstone, Night Train are going to pick up a few neutral kills. But Pudge once more, he's hanging out. He has an invisibility rune. They have ward vision of the enemy jungle, and right now I think he's just leeching XP. I don't think he'll want to make a move, but with Sven rotating in, I guess he will, as he dismembers onto the Shadow Shaman this time instead of Night Train, and now you have a split fight with Sven taking on Dazzle in the bottom here and Pudge versus Undying in the top, but they decide to collapse down, see if they can pick off the Dazzle, but instead they start by killing the Meepo, and now the chase is onto Night Train as Dazzle was able to securely teleport back to base, but now Mosey is on an island, throwing out his chaotic offerings into the 4 Firestarter heroes, and they'll slowly cleave through those with the Witch Doctor heal, keeping them from falling to the immolation damage from those Golem, columns, colons, whatever you want to call it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Mag blinking forward, landing the hook, and the Ice Blast is going to be just short, and so it's not going to be on target. But the Maledict is being thrown, and the right clicks from Kupo are going to be enough to drop him. He's pinging out, saying, "Deny me, please deny me." Night Train looks at him going, "What?" And down he falls, yielding the kill to Witch Doctor and his Maledict. Mag blinking in front of the Sven to prevent any, I don't know, Marana arrows from interrupting his teleport, I guess? I don't know.
Radiant structures are
those 6 hero Marana arrows, they're deadly. You need to be careful. So Meepo has now converted his boots. He was rocking the tranquil boots for a bit. He's since replaced them with boots of travel, and so, as his face would indicate, he's likely going to become the rat of this game and teleport everywhere with his primary meepo and then blink all of his other meepos to his primary. Dazzle trying to scout out Team Fire starters with his weave, but it's not going to be there. Instead, the team's gathering around the ancient stack to watch Sven cut through it. Sven gathers the gold, but as a team they gather the experience. And quite the experience lead they have right now, as they've broken the 10k mark of experience. And they catch Nitrain out, and he's just going to melt before anybody from Team PeeNoise is going to have a chance to react. Mosey getting spotted out here in the jungle. He's going to be going up against Sven and a Pudge. Then in the top you have Durelius fighting against Topoi, and his snake wards. So far he's going to come out the victor, but he is under the effect of fatal bonds, and so the damage is going to be shared amongst him and his teammates, but ultimately not enough to kill him, as it's a 4-for-0 exchange going in favor of fire starters, and that yields them another 3,000 experience and a bunch of gold, as Sven continues to add to that gold advantage and cleans up the snake wards that Shadow Shaman left behind. Gelatin your bones, boldly teleporting right in front of Sven. If Sven had had any support from his allies, I'm sure he would have gone in and tried to clean up Meepo for another time. That puts him at a 15,000 XP advantage and approaching the same amount of gold. So what started off as a back and forth in the gold charts has avalanched into a huge gold lead for Team Firestarter, as Sven continues to farm pretty much uncontested, and Feel It in Your Bones has been forced to join up with his team to try to balance the odds of these team fights. Now ABC circling around, maybe trying to pick off a Meepo of her own, blinking forward and missing. However, it's not without its victories, because in the middle lane, Shadow Shaman and Undying both fall to, looks like one was to Sven and one was to Pudge, as they catch the team split up and take full advantage of it. Now Sprang Baton on the wrong side of the wall near his base is going to get caught by the blinking army of fire starters. Looks like 3 out of the 4 heroes in this lane have blink, and they're able to close the gap very quickly.
Has spoken. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So there may be a professional team forming here in my Twitch chat, as everyone's offering some backseat advice here on how to implement a 5k strategy. Unfortunately, Mojism doesn't have friends. Tier. It's like a reverse shout out for Mojism.
Shout it to the atmosphere.
But for now, you have Nitrain searching forward, trying to pick off ABC. ABC turns around and says, okay, let's dance. Pops her ultimate, explodes Undying's face, and blinks away before she takes a single hit. And now the blinking army is going to be blinking into the Roshan pit. I don't think they have an amulet or anything to reduce the armor, so it'll take a little bit of time here. ABC's pumping out enough damage here with the Desolator and the Crystallis that they'll be able to secure this. And while those two heroes are in the Roche Pit, the rest, excuse me, the rest of the team looks to make a rotation here onto Meepo, and Mag is going to be able to secure. You have Dazzle coming in with the Shallow Grave, trying to buy Meepo enough time to poof out, but it's not going to be there. In which Doctor finishes him off, and now that Dazzle's revealed himself, he'll be shackled by ABC, and down he goes as well. He had Sven blinking forward, trying to catch out a Shadow Shaman, but he had a blink of his own. Nearly getting caught with a shackle shot against the Night Train is he takes about 4 right clicks and falls himself. And Wind Ranger's critting so hard that it broke her internet connection. So we have one disconnect in the second pause of Game 2 here between Firestarters and Team PeeNoise. And it's not that long of a pause, as you see ABC is already connected again. You have Sven saying that he likes the set of, I presume, Shadow Shaman? Who's going to be running like hell from this Sven, who blinks forward, stuns, and even though he's underneath the tower, the Shadow Shaman falls. You have Mag blinking forward himself and landing a successful hook against Warlock, and that'll finish off the team, resulting in a full team wipe. And I'm sure that the Reborn fight recap tool is going to be spot on and perfectly tell you all of the damage that was done, all of the heroes that were killed, and all of the spells that were used. Kappa, Kappa, Kappa. So you can see Team Firestarter here did a total of 72 damage, and that caused a team wipe of Team PeeNoise. But Firestarter are pressing their advantage here as they take the bottom lane of Rax, rotate to middle, and this is do or die time here. You have Pudge hanging out in the woods, being a little lurker bee, but the rest of Team Firestarter back off and teleport up to the top lane where they've lost a couple towers, and they look to collect on a bit more farm. While Mag blinks himself out to safety between Blink and Glimmer Cape, and he'll look to fall back and rejoin his allies and presumably gather up and push into another lane. Meanwhile, while all this has been going on, you have the Centaur here next to the Ancient stack, who's been stacking them up, and down they go. So Sven secures for himself another hefty chunk of gold and skyrockets him to about 20,000 net worth, which is right on par with double that of the Warlock, who at one point was the high net worth in the game. But as we fade into the middle of the game here and into the late game, Warlock's utility is going to start to fall off as Sven, Wind Ranger, and Pudge are able to take him out of the game, and that Shadow Word heal and damage not being nearly as potent as it was in the beginning. Team Firestarter dropping a Sentry Ward, which of course means here comes the smoke. So they get a 5-man smoke. Draw out on the map that they want to circle through the river. You're gonna have a blinking Clars, Witch Doctor jumping forward as well, and they just melt the Shadow Shaman. Now the chase is on. Night Train getting caught out and shackled to the trees by a blinking Wind Ranger. He's going to go down, and it's 2-0. I don't even know if the smoke was needed there, as the teams are just jumping forward. You have ABC using his Wind Run to try to close the distance, but now she's on her heels as Meepo shows up, but Meepo versus Pudge isn't going to be the encounter he was hoping for, as Pudge hits him with a dismember, blinks forward, and catches Warlock anyway with the hook. And a quick Witch Doctor ultimate is going to ensure that he falls, but I think that might have been just a little bit of showmanship and not quite so necessary. But you do have Feel It in Your Bones going after the Wind Ranger here, as well as Shadow Shaman dropping his ward with the BKB debut. Nope, not the debut at all. It's down to 6 seconds, but the BKB being popped by Sven as he surges forward, cleaves through Undying, and now all that's left of Team PeeNoise is going to be the wards, the racks, and the throne, and so they know that their time is up. They call GG, and that's the second game being won by Firestarters in this best of 2, and so they close the gap against some of the competitors in their bracket in the Heroic League. Taking a quick look at it. You're going to have, it looks like Lavender Esports currently on top of Division 1 in the Heroic League with 9 points. Trial and Error sitting on 7 points going into this week, so we don't know the results of their game yet. And Firestarter sitting on 6 points, so this will yield them 2 more. They'll be sitting at 8 total wins, sitting 1 behind the leader of Lavender Esports, and Trial and Error have the opportunity this week to either catch up to Lavender Esports or be passed up by Team Firestarter here in the hunt for first place. So, well played by both teams. It looks like Team PeeNoise were trying to adapt their strategy in Game 2 and apply a lot more pressure early on, which they were able to do successfully. They took all of the Tier 1 towers from Firestarter without too much resistance and very quickly, but in the end it was Firestarter Sven who was able to just farm freely throughout the match, going 16-0 and 12, so he had not only just a great time farming, he had a ton of experience yielded and gold yielded from participating in team fights and kills. So secured for him nearly 700 gold per minute and nearly 700 XP per minute. So he was sitting on level 22, where even the Meepo, notoriously renowned for his ability to snowball out of control in terms of XP, is sitting at level 19. So he's sitting at 3 levels above the Meepo, who was tied with the Wind Ranger and Pudge, who were both kind of roaming around and trying to get pickoffs. So thank you all for tuning in. My name, as you know, is Darmin, coming to you live once again from twitch.tv/DarminCast. Please feel free to share, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff to my Twitch channel. I also have a YouTube channel that I'll be posting tonight's videos to, in case you want to watch these replays. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, and as always, I look forward to your constructive criticisms and feedback as I continue to pronounce the word golem, and CO, and colum, and anything else I can to troll the audience. Beyond that, I don't think I have any more games scheduled for this week. I'll be on the lookout for some additional AD2L games, though. I've been asked to cast a number of Join Dota League games, so you may see those popping up on my schedule here in the near future. If not, I will see you guys at the very least next Thursday for next week's Thursday-heavy schedule, as that's when most of the AD2L League matches are played. And congratulations to Firestarter, pulling out 2 wins, adding it to their total, and keeping themselves in the hunt for first place for the Season 9 tournament bracket of AD2L. Thanks again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys during the next cast. Until then, good fun, have luck.